We are working in 28 different states right now, the American Center for Law and Justice, 52 different kind of actions. I mean, so everything from being in court, from amicus briefs, policy, testifying before state legislatures, all on life.
What we anticipated was that if, in fact, Dobbs declares Roe versus Wade not the law of the land or unconstitutional, or even doesn't go that far but says a 15-week heart bill legislation like in Mississippi is, in fact, constitutional, what you're going to see is states go proactively into their state court systems to try to get a right to abortion recognized under the state constitutions.
They're scared about what Dobbs is going to say, and so they're trying to be proactive and get laws on the books that make sure that abortion is legal in their states.
You got to understand something. If you think they're going to give up because the Supreme Court decision comes down, well, guess again. That's not going to happen now. It will change drastically the battle, and it'll focus the battle.
The governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, is filing a lawsuit against a state law from the 1950s, pre-Roe, that would be the law of the state if Dobbs is decided in the life's favor, put it that way. And so she's actually filing to try and get this law to be declared unconstitutional under the state law. So you're starting to see proactive moves in before. So it's not reactive to Dobbs. It is proactive to Dobbs.
The arguments that they're making in Michigan are basically the Roe arguments that are the bad arguments, the due process clause, the right to privacy, all these basically concocted rights.
In Maryland, the governor there is a Republican who is fairly pro-life, Governor Hogan, and he vetoed legislation to expand abortion there, to allow abortion to be performed. I mean, this is when it gets pretty absurd. It would allow abortion to be performed by physician's assistants, midwives, and nurse practitioners, and the state is actually going to use taxpayer dollars, $3.5 million to train those physician's assistants and nurse practitioners and midwives to perform abortions. So it won't be doctors anymore, and using state resources to do it. The governor vetoed it, but the veto was overridden by the state legislature, which is Democrat and left controlled.
They want to expand it. So now they're going to make you pay for abortions. They're going to make insurance cover abortions. They're going to let non-physicians do abortions. You're just going to see it expand and expand and expand.
They're going to use your money as taxpayers to do that. But then the second, we're also involved in that legislation you talked about, Cece, because that's the legislation where they use that term perinatal, like California's trying to do as well, which would expand abortion right up until birth, and even after birth.
Ralph Northam, who famously said, well, even if a baby survived abortion, that what we should do is make that child comfortable and then basically take out his life.
Have a discussion.
Have the discussion about how to handle it. Now, look, that we said was absurd. Who could be thinking that way? Why in the world would anybody want to do that? Here's the reality. A lot of states' legislators are looking at doing things like that.
Yeah.
This is not isolated to Ralph Northam.
No, and it's not isolated to Maryland, because now we're seeing it pop up in California. So when we start seeing a pattern in legislation where they start using this new term, which was not in previous abortion legislation, when you start seeing that a new term pop up that then covers this period from birth and 28 days longer, 30 days longer, this is something the abortion industry is obviously coordinating.
We have a whole project that is informing all these states. Be careful about this, because if you say perinatal, like Jordan said, yes, and if you say that is up to 1 month after birth. So if that baby is killed or dies for any reason, they're exempt from any criminal charges.
I mean, think about that for a moment. And they thought they could, and here's where I'm really pleased with our legal team. They thought they could slip that in and it not get noticed.
It's intentionally being used by the abortion industry to cover late-term abortions or any kind of abortions at the state level in the states where they've got support. So what we have to look at this is say, Dobbs it'd be an incredible victory, because you return the battle back to the states. And again, as I said, about more than half the country, but at least 26 states are going to put in good pro-life legislation. They at least want to. They're going to need help. They're going to need assistance. They're all going to be legally challenged, and a lot of them in the state courts. But the second thing is you're going to see some of these more radical states taking action. I mean, California's Governor Newsom, has talked about literally flying people in for free so that they could get their abortion, like a abortion vacation.
Just think about how the pro-abortion movement, and now they've got people in very high places, are willing to do this. And this is why you got to fight back and fight back aggressively. They are a juggernaut. They have billion-dollar budgets. You know, we're happy with our budget and we're thrilled with our donor support. It is not 1/10 of what they have, and we're fighting back and beating them in court. We beat them in court in the Gulf Coast region for the significant monetary damage. We just tried a case in New Jersey. Our guys are working. Our team is working on one right now in Kentucky. We've got an appeal going on in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals involving the Center for Medical Progress. We've got an appeal for Governor Noem in South Dakota that we just filed the reply brief.
You're talking about 50 states in the country, about half that are going to want to put in good pro-life legislation that are going to get legal challenged. They're going to be fought. We need to help them with the language. We are already doing that in many states. And then the other half of the country is going to go the other way. They want to use your taxpayer dollars to train non-doctors to do abortions. They want to use this new term perinatal to cover even post-birth killing of these children. So we have to be ready.